Hi, I'm Sheena Larson. Today I'm going to be demonstrating how you would do a modified draping technique. I'm just going to be demonstrating on a stuffed animal. So right now I'm just making sure that all of my packs are open in the OR. As you can see, I'm dressed to be in there. I have my scrub cap, my booties. I broke my leg, so I have it over the air cast even, and my mask. And these are clean scrubs. So I'm going to start off. These weren't actually autoclaved, but I prepared them as though they were. So as you can see, they haven't changed color, but I still have all of the information, like what's in there, the date and the initials. So to start off with, I'm going to be opening up the steri peel of the towel forceps. Go. And now I'm going to be opening up my gown. So I can open up this outer layer even though I'm not sterile. So opening up away. Now I take my towel forceps and I'm going to just be pulling everything away and just letting it drop. As you can see there, the inner one is larger than the outer. There we go. Just going to be putting those back. I have my gloves. And now I'm going to be opening up. I made a pack of towel clamps that I'm going to be using for the draping. Being very careful that these don't slide all over the place. There we go. And then the ground sheets. And then I'm going to take these. I also hadn't shown that I did have the indicator strip in here. Even though it wasn't autoclaved, it was still added to the pack. There we go. So these have the 4 ground sheets and the laparotomy sheet, and you can see here that it also had the indicator. So now I'm going to be transferring the towel clamps. I could have just dumped them in, but I didn't want to risk dropping them, so I'm just going to be carefully grabbing them and adding them. Oop, that one is lost. I only need 4 anyways. There we go. So I have added the towel clamps to my pack. So now I have my patient here under general anesthetic getting ready for an ovariohysterectomy. So this is the time that we would put the tattoo into the ear or place the microchip. So I'm going to demonstrate how we would put the microchip in. I have the microchip scanner right here. So I would want to scan it. Oop. And so it's reading, and I would just want to scan the animal to make sure that she hasn't gotten any microchip from anywhere else. They can sometimes migrate a bit. We put them in between the scapulae, but there we go. So sometimes they can travel down the legs. I would normally check for the microchip before putting them under anesthetic, but it says no transponder found, so we know that we're good to put the microchip in. And then I'm going to scan the packaging here because I want to make sure that the microchip in here corresponds with the number on the barcode, which, as you can see, they do. So at that point, I would open up the package and place the microchip, but I'm going to stimulate that with our syringe here. So I'd take 70% isopropyl alcohol, find my landmark in between the scapulae, and I would just wet that down with the alcohol. It helps to separate the hair to expose the skin and cleans it up a bit. So I would take that off. I would want to make sure that the bevel is facing up. I would create a bit of a tent in between the scapulae, and then I would insert at a 45-degree angle, depress the plunger, and then I would want to take it out at the same angle that it went in, keeping the plunger depressed. And then now I would take the scanner and I would scan, and I would confirm that the microchip was successfully implanted, which obviously in this case it was not, but. And then now I would move on to clipping. So I would rotate her so that she's in a better position where I can access everything. Being careful not to move the endotube too much. And I have the clippers here. So where I would want to clip is 2 inches above the umbilicus down to the pubis, and then 1 to 2 inches on either side of the nipples. And that would give us plenty of room for the ovariohysterectomy, and it's always better to err on the bigger side. So I have a clean number 40 blade here. I'm not actually going to turn them on because I'm not actually clipping anything at this point. But I would clip, and if you clip with the hair, I'm just using a bit of a modified pencil grip. You would go with the hair to get the bulk of the hair. And you want to make sure that you're doing a nice job, that everything is symmetrical, because the shave job is what the clients can see. That's what they can see. That's what they pay most attention to. And then for the close clip, you want to go against the hair. That gets rid of the very fine hairs. And you want to be careful that you're not going to get any of the nipples caught in the teeth or anything. I keep sticking to the saran wrap. So you want to go against the hair, paying a special attention to where the incision is going to be. And I would make sure that all of the edges look tidy. And then I would consider my clip done. And then I would vacuum away the remaining hair from the patient, because I would be getting rid of the vast majority of the hair as we went along. I would vacuum up the hair, being careful not to cause trauma to the patient. And then a good option as well is for the very fine hairs that can stay, is you can take a lint roller and you can lint roll up the fine little baby hairs that tend to stay. Works really well on cat spays. So then with the clipping done, I would just do a quick general scrub. So I would use my chlorhexidine scrub. And I would just put some into my warm water here, and I would just do a quick general wash of the area. This is just to get the bulk of the dirt gone. Want to do it through there. And then I would just kind of like use this to wet down the edges of the hair so that they're not going into the incision as well. And then just going to give that a quick rinse. It's not really wanting to rinse off of my saran wrap, but that's all right. So at this point, I would remove my lab coat, get rid of all of the extra hair that's attached to me. I have clean scrubs on underneath. Then I would put on my mask and my scrub cap. And I would do a wash. I would wash my hands with the same solution that I am going to do the scrub with. And then I would begin my surgical scrub, which is going to be 3 different scrubs using the target technique. The incision is going to be located roughly here. So I'm just going to very carefully just grab the corners of my gauze here to make a nice little scrub pad. And then I'm just going to dip into the water. I'm just going to put the scrub solution along where that would be, the incision would be. And then the important part is that I always want clean facing clean and dirty facing dirty. So I'm going to start using a circular motion where it'll be, and then I'll just move out. And then as I move around, I'm just going to be rotating the gauze so that the same side is always facing in towards the incision. Now I'm just going to do a rinse which is the same general idea with my water. and clean facing clean, but I don't need the scrubbing motion. So just rotating that to get the scrub off. I'm going to be repeating this process 2 more times. Starting where the incision will be, then moving a bit out, always keeping the same part facing in. Go, another rinse. Still rotating out. There we go, and then just rinse. Always, always, always rotating so that the dirty side is facing the dirty side. There we go. So now I'm going to be doing a paint with alcohol. I have my bowl here full of 70% isopropyl alcohol, and I'm just using the dressing forceps to kind of pull it up into the same little package that I had before. A little bit finicky. I'm just going to squeeze out the extra of that alcohol against the side there, and then I'm just going to do the same thing. This is just with the alcohol. My saran wrap is peeling back a little bit. There we go. And now I'm going to do the final paint, which is also with 70% isopropyl alcohol because we use the chlorhexidine scrub. Always rotating out. on a real patient, you don't have the extra flap here that gets caught up. There we go. So now I would apply my transfer drape, which I'm pretending I've autoclaved here. So I'm going to open it up, and keeping in mind that I am not sterile, I still want the inside of the drape to be. So I would peel that back. And then I would just take my hands and place them on the inside so that only my thumbs are facing the outside, and I would lift that up, and as you can see, the inner surface there is still sterile. So now I would go over and I would lay the transfer drape so that it drops right where I want it. And now the patient is ready to be transferred into the OR. An alternative is I could use towel clamps to place it, but I'm just going to say that we're going to disconnect our patient here, turn off oxygen, all of that from this anesthetic machine. And without disturbing our scrubbed area, I'm going to transfer our patient into the OR. Here I would hook them up to this anesthetic machine. So I'll just simulate by putting that there. And then I would have the legs tied. And this is to prevent the patient from rolling or anything during the surgery. Some of the deep-chested animals can really be a little bit floppy, so we want them to stay as stationary and in the right position for our surgeon. So there we go. Our patient has been connected. And now I am going to remove the transfer drape, and I want to do this keeping our incision site sterile. So I'm only going to be touching the outside of the drape here. So I'm just going to place, and I'm just going to use my fingers, and I'm just going to pull, lifting, not dragging it towards me, and then I'm just going to have that drop. And I need to apply the final paint. So I have some sterile forceps here. So I have my sterile forceps and a sterile piece of gauze. One, go. And I'm just going to try to fold this up here. There we go. And then I just don't want to touch the edges. This is just full of the 70% alcohol. And then I'm just going to do my final paint. Rotating around here. And then I would call that good. And I would now go and do a surgical scrub on myself in gown and glove and come back to perform the draping. So now I'm all scrubbed, and I put on the gown aseptically, and I use the closed gloving technique to put on the surgical gloves. And now I'm going to be performing the modified fold draping technique. So I have the 4 ground sheets here and a laparotomy sheet, and I have the towel clamps. So to start off with, I'm going to be putting the first drape over top of his head. I'm going to just touch the inside there, so then the outside is sterile. And I'm going to just be putting this, and I'm going to just drop it about an inch above the umbilicus. And then I'm going to repeat that procedure with the near drape. So just grabbing the insides and lifting up so that they fall open. And this one I'm going to place it so that it's about an inch on this side of the incision. There we go. And now to keep that in place, I'm going to take one of the towel clamps, and I'm going to make sure that it gets a good dig there. And now I'm going to cover the caudal end. There. And I'm going to take another towel clamp and I'm going to clamp these 2 together. Making sure to get a bit of both drape and skin. It's easier on a live animal where there's less resistance, but there we go. So now I'm going to be taking the final drape that's going to be going on the far side. I have this one turned around a little bit because I'm going to put my hand still on the inside, then on the outs, and then lift up, because this way I'm going to be reaching across. This is less walking for me because I don't want to walk too much with my broken leg. And I'm just going to place it there, about an inch on that side. And I'm going to just grab a towel clamp, and I'm going to clamp these 2 together. Which on a stuffed animal is easier said than done. And then I'm going to be using my left hand because I don't want to reach around, and I'm going to towel clamp these ones. Wanting to get both towels or both drapes and a little bit of skin. On a real animal, you don't have to press this hard. There's more resistance. There. So now for the laparotomy sheet, which I have here, you can see the fenestration, and I'm just going to take that where it's going to fold open like that, and then keeping it still so that it doesn't drag around on our skin, I'm just going to pull that way, pull that this way, there, and there. This laparotomy sheet is a bit big for this procedure, but there we go. It is now ready for our surgeon. Just as a note, we didn't use towel clamps on this one because the surgeon might need to move the laparotomy sheet for some reason. They might have to look underneath, they might have to adjust it, so we don't clamp that one into place.